when we first learn a language, we feel a little bit of success because we've reached a level of understanding of basic phrases. So, for example, when someone approaches you and says, hello, you hear the information and your brain processes the information, translates the information, and you understand it. And there's that feeling of, wow, I could really learn this language. And a lot of people get stuck in the stage of just understanding basic phrases, and then that's where you plateau. And one of my goals is to help you overcome that plateau. And you might be stuck in the comprehension stage. So we want to move you from the comprehension stage to the speaking stage. So how many of you have gone to a restaurant with some friends and your host is an English speaker and they ask you what you would like to order, and you want to give your order in English, and then this sort of fear overcomes you and you freeze. And for some reason, the words are here. You know what you want to say. You're reading a menu. But for some reason, the words just stop. And it's hard to get the words out. It's hard to speak. I think what's happening in that situation, because I've experienced it myself, I think what's happening in that situation is fear. We're afraid. We're afraid of being misunderstood. We're afraid of being embarrassed. We're afraid of being humiliated. Are we going to make a mistake when we first speak a new language? Absolutely. But making mistakes is part of learning. Making mistakes is part of growing. So part of the idea here is I want to share a little bit of my experience getting through that fear to be able to speak Spanish more fluently. Well, let me put it this way. Spanish is my second language. I learned it intentionally. I studied it when I was in high school and college, and I lived in Spain for a year, and a couple of years after that, I moved to New Mexico, and I interacted with a lot of Spanish speakers there as well. So through those experiences, I had trouble speaking. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends, I guess boyfriends, I don't know their situation, but anyway, we were talking about some work I needed done on my house, and I know he's from Mexico and I speak Spanish, and my friend said, you can speak Spanish to him, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun, I can practice my Spanish. But when the situation came up, I froze, and I know I could have said, hola Juan, ¿cómo estás? But I didn't. And even though it was the simplest phrase, I could have said, hello Juan, how are you? The words got stuck. And I said, no, you know what, I'll do it later. We'll have plenty of times to hang out and plenty of opportunities for me to practice my Spanish with him, because we'll see each other again. Friends of friends, I guess we'll hang out at some point, and he's probably coming back to do some work on my house. But anyway, the problem was I missed an opportunity. And I think that's what I'd like to share with you, is that missed opportunity. When you are around people and opportunities you can practice, within which or with whom you can practice, take that chance. I know it's easier said than done to overcome a fear, but I have some suggestions for you. Before you go out and meet with people in situations where you may be able to practice English, think of the situation and predict what kind of interaction you will have. Are you going to be answering yes and no questions? Are you going to be introducing yourself and telling someone a little bit about your life? Are you going to be ordering food? So think about what situation you are going to be in. So that's the planning stage. Think about what you might say, and you might have a situation where you have to think of something off the top of your head that you hadn't planned for, but that's okay. You just move forward. And after you plan what kind of conversations you'll have, write it down. Write down the sentences you will say so that you can practice your grammar. If your fear is fear of messing up the grammar, write it down and practice it. Write it down and read it to yourself over again and over again and again and again. And my third suggestion would be to find someone whom you trust, who speaks English, either fluently through study or is a native English speaker, and practice with them. I can't say that when the situation arises where you actually have to speak spontaneously in the moment, that you won't still freeze or the words won't get stuck. I can't promise that. But you will feel better. You will feel more prepared going into that situation. So maybe you'll miss that opportunity, but the next time you go to Starbucks or the next time you go to try on some clothes, you'll feel better. And maybe you'll think, this time I'm not going to miss my opportunity. This time I'm going to speak. I have practiced and practiced, so I will use the phrases I've practiced and go for it. Will you still be afraid? Probably, until you feel more and more confident, but if you don't start, you will be stuck in that stage. The stage of fear, the stage of being misunderstood. Another suggestion I have is start with common phrases. Greetings. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. I'm hungry. What time is it? Where's the fitting room? Can I try this on? Do you have this in a size 8? So those kinds of phrases are very common, and you will have a lot of opportunities to use them. So those are my suggestions. Plan what you're going to say depending on the situation. Write it down so you can get the grammar correct. Rehearse it, read it, reread it, and reread it out loud, and practice it. Practice with yourself, practice with your dog, practice with your teddy bear, and then graduate to practicing with an English speaker, a native English speaker, preferably, so they can maybe correct you and give you suggestions. But at some point you have to take that leap and just do it. In my experience, I realized that, when I first moved to Spain, I had a roommate, and my roommate was Irish, and she also spoke English, but she made friends very quickly. She made friends faster than I did. She was there for 3 months, but I was there for a year. When she left, I had no roommate. I was alone. And so I had to go make friends. I had to go make Spanish-speaking friends, and so I could have some sort of social life. And I knew Spanish. I knew it intellectually, but fluently. And I said to myself, you have to do it. And oh, I was so shaky. I was so nervous. But it was necessary. Absolutely necessary. And I'm glad I did. And I told myself, how am I going to do this? And I said, Deborah, just what I told you. I started with a situation and I said, I'm just going to talk about whatever topic is easy. And I knew a little bit about some of the people in my social circle. For example, one of my friends had just bought a new car. So I planned and I prepared and I wrote questions. What color is your car? How many doors does it have? Is it a convertible? Do you like it? Is it automatic or manual? So I practiced, and I went down to the cafe and I ordered myself my little café cortado, and I spoke to her and we engaged and we connected and we made we were closer acquaintances. I won't say we made friends, but it was a start, and I had to start somewhere. And I went home that evening and I was so proud of myself. Did I make mistakes? Absolutely. Did I make a fool of myself? Was I completely embarrassed or humiliated? No. In fact, I was surprised that when I spoke another language, someone understood me, and I felt so good. I felt so good. In fact, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It was a really great experience. I hope that this video has helped you understand why you're stuck in that stage, and I hope that I've been able to provide you with some ideas on how to move forward so that you can develop speaking skills and confidence.